Film fans of YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, your Movie Apprentice, and today I am looking at If, directed by John Krasinski and starring Cailey, Fleming, Ryan Reynolds, and the voices of Steve Carell and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. The film follows B, a 12-year-old who has lost one parent and might lose the other due to open heart surgery. So to distract herself, she joins a man who helps imaginary friends find new kids after their old kids have grown up and forgotten them. Before I get into my review, if you like seeing our channel, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time. But without further ado, let's jump right into the review. So if I'm going to say up front that whilst I don't think it worked entirely for myself personally, I don't feel like I was the right audience for this movie because as a family film, I think it works in spades. Starting off with what I enjoyed about the movie, I really liked the designs of the Ifs themselves. They were straight out of cartoons brought into a real life live action setting, and they really go to town with some very unique designs that you would expect to come from young kids, from a talking glass of water with an ice cube in there to a funny looking dragon to a literal humanoid mannequin. There are a number of creative ideas when it came to the imaginary friends, not to the extent that you would expect from a fully animated movie, but it comes to what they could achieve in live action and make look good alongside live action counterparts in this world. I thought they were really good designs, and the special effects department that helped bring these creatures to life, deserving of all praise that they should be getting for this movie. And those creatures are brought to life by a diverse cast of voice actors. Obviously, we have Steve Carell and Phoebe Waller-Bridge in there, but we have other ones that only have like one or two lines voiced by characters like Aquafina and Bradley Cooper. There are a number of fun ifs in there. My personal favorite has to be the over-the-top private eye secret agent one. He comes in and has some of the most in-your-face moments in the entire film. He does get a lot of laughs from me. He might be annoying to some, but I feel like kids will definitely enjoy his character. The film is also the strongest narratively for me when it comes to some of the emotional beats. As an adult that has grown up, and I sometimes think about old friends that I used to have years and years ago and wondering what they're doing now, I feel like that is something that this film touches upon to a certain extent. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of stuff that the kids are going to relate to in this. The adults that will go in and watch this as well will find something to latch onto. There's a particular period of the movie where If's having to come to terms with their lost grown-up kids. Those are some of the most poignant, powerful moments in the film, and it did draw some tears from me. I'll admit, this film got me emotional. But it feels like these days a lot of family films have just been devoted to the animation category, and you either have the entertain kids for 2 hours movie, or you have the deeper animated movies. But we never really get many of those live action family movies that seem to be all arranged back in the day, but we haven't seen them in quite some time. John Krasinski has truly brought that back to the forefront of media, so I have to really appreciate his efforts on that. Cailey Fleming is an okay job as the main girl in this. I won't say she was amazing, but considering she has to carry most of the movie, like anyone that's going into this thing that it's mostly going to be a Ryan Reynolds featuring little girl kind of movie. No, if anything, Ryan Reynolds is very much stripped back in this. He is not doing his Deadpool isms. He is very much just the side character, the co-lead, the support. He is never overstaying his welcome and just stays there for the emotional moments and to bounce alongside Cailey's character. But the film does have a lot of problems for me when it comes to how it reaches some of the narrative plot points and how it gets to the emotional moments and just the general structure of the movie itself. We get a nice pre-credits backstory that sets up Bee's character and her conflict that she's going to be dealing with for most of the movie, and this idea of telling stories to sick loved ones coming straight from Kubo and the Two Strings. She starts seeing the imaginary friends, joins up so she doesn't have to see the imaginary friends anymore, but then fully devotes themselves to the role. And it's just the way her motives shift and change throughout the movie. It just feels very loosely woven together. And while it does work for the most part, for me, it just feels like this kid changed their mind on a whim. And it felt like some scenes were very grandiose, but didn't really add much to the story. There's a whole song and dance number that is really entertaining, really well done. Big shout out to the set designers and the special effects crews that have put these sequences together. Really entertaining. The lead into that piece and the reason that piece had to exist for the context of the movie, it just came as a weird way to force the two human characters to link up on this project to find these ifs. They're humans. But there are elements that are just really irritating to me. There is one thing that really tries to hammer in the heartstrings, but you already know that it's not going to end in the negative way purely because of how the scene is set out. There is also a kid that's in this that makes friends with B throughout the course of the movie, and there's that whole sequence of trying to find that particular kid and imaginary friend because they have never had one. It's really obvious which of the ifs should be their if, yet they go through every if but that particular if. There are also some rules set up when it comes to ifs and their grown-up kids that need to be established in order for connections to be made. All the effort that is made in those rules and that law and connection gets thrown out of the window in the final few minutes of the movie for some feel-good moments that feel rather forced and leave me questioning what was the point of all the struggle that some of the ifs had to go through earlier in the movie when other ifs just seems very straightforward to them. It just feels very messy. As a nice family film for some adults to take their kids to enjoy, like any kid that's over 7, I would say, would be a good fit for this movie. So I will say really young kids might not be able to focus on this film as much. But for me, I just felt that as an overall film, I felt it had a lot to be desired and had a number of weak points narratively and structure-wise. But in terms of just a family film you can take your kids to and really have it tug on your heartstrings, that works really strongly. And that I feel is the way that the film should be watched. I just feel like for me, because I watch so many films, I see these plot points come from a mile away. I see these flags. I can kind of subconsciously predict what's going to happen. So I was never able to truly invest in the movie myself. But I feel like I'm going to be in the minority for this because there is a lot to like in this when it comes to just being a family film with some really good designs of the creatures, some very high emotional moments that even made me cry. So some people are going to be in bits watching this movie. If, for me, though, just was a very mixed bag. Before I get into my grade, if you like seeing our channel, click the like button and subscribe for more reviews that's coming all the time. Without further ado, let's grade this. So if the voice performances are really strong from Steve Carell, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, they really stack the cast in this one. John Krasinski has brought back the live-action family film in a modern day, and I think as a family film, it will work wonders. Both kids and adults will find a lot of things to love in it. There were some very strong emotional moments, and they will tug at your heartstrings. The fact that Ryan Reynolds is stripped back and really lets our main actress take center stage and really show her chops, that is very admirable as well. I will say that the way this film plays fast and loose with some rules and how B's motives seem to change just for plot purposes, there's no natural development. They always seem to skip maybe a couple of minutes of development to get to a point. And that for me is a big detractor. The if designs are really good, but for me, I just feel like there's a lot in this movie that holds it back from being a truly good movie for me. So I'm going to have to say that if, for me, is an okay cup of tea. So if, have you seen it? If you have, then you thought down in the comments below. If you like seeing our channel, make sure you click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that is coming all the time. Coming up on the channel, we have The Strangers Part 1, which I cannot wait for, as well as potentially Garfield, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, everybody, I am Josh, I have been Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.